I'm Nathan Watts. My friends and family and pretty much everyone who knows me call me Nate. This summer, 2024, was my last summer of being a kid. No job, bills, rent, anything. I tried my best to make the most of it and ended up only being home for a week. The rest of my summer was spent traveling and camping with people I loved, so I think I did pretty good. The start of this summer was a trip with just two of my best friends. We went to Arizona, specifically Sedona. We had talked for probably 5 years about having to do a camping trip with just us. But this year we realized we were out of time and out of chances, so we actually made it happen. We paid for everything, reserved our sites, and started packing. 6 hours later, we pulled into our campsite in the middle of the mountains of Arizona with no service, but so excited. It was literally a forest surrounding our campsite, which we didn't realize that before we got there, but that just made us even happier. We spent the next 4 days cliff jumping all around Sedona and having the time of our lives. We only lost one pair of glasses, broke one camera, and only one engine mount on our truck. But we made it home with 0 serious injuries. I think after showing our family the pictures and videos we took, they were happy we were able to go, but mostly regretted letting us go. And they were kind of surprised we made it back alive. I had 1 day after Arizona to pack before leaving for a small family reunion in Idaho, where my family rented a lake house for a week. We got to do lots of fishing and boating and exploring Island Park. I love Idaho, and I'm excited to be moving there in September for college. The family made lots of food, and we had campfires at night, watched movies together, had wars with these little guns that shot Orbeez at each other. We tried to break a piñata, took some kind of chaotic family pictures, and survived some crazy rainstorms. At the end of the week, I think everyone was tired from playing so hard, but everyone was very, very happy. My next trip was only a day after I got home, before I went to San Diego State University for the Strength of Youth camp ran by my church. I was able to go and stay in dorms on campus for a week, eat in the cafeteria, attend lessons and devotionals, play in a massive field games night, and learn so much about people and God. I was able to meet other kids from California who shared all my same beliefs, and I was able to grow my testimony of the gospel by learning from the people around me. FSY is truly one of the happiest places on earth, and I wish I could feel the way I do there every day of my life. My group played a game the whole week where someone had the cheese touch, and you had to avoid getting it by crossing your fingers. Everyone was tense, and it was so much fun, and I was probably the worst at it because I had the cheese touch the most out of anyone the whole week. It sounds dumb, but it added something so innocent and fun and exciting to an already amazing group and an amazing week. After FSY, it was my only week home all of summer. I got a lot done that needed to be done before college this fall, and I kind of got miserable. It was over 100 degrees outside the whole week, and I couldn't really do anything. So I ended up reaching out to an old friend who moved away and arranged a little beach trip. We went to the most beautiful beach in California, 1,000 Steps in Laguna. We played lots of spike ball, volleyball, football, and got slammed around by the massive waves. That day was so refreshing and relaxing. It made me miss how simple friendships can be, and made me realize how easy it is to make plans and actually make them happen. We also saw some old cars on our way home, and I had brought my camera, and I was so excited to take pictures of them because they were gorgeous. The next week, I got to go on a trip with my dad that I'd been wanting for a while. Since January, my relationship with my parents had improved so much. I went from being kind of tense and stressed to happy, and we started to treat each other like best friends. My parents are amazing, and I can't imagine my life without them. I just made choices in the past for many times that made it difficult for me to interact with them in a way that showed my appreciation and love for them. I was so excited for this trip with my dad, and excited to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him, which I don't normally get to do. We went to Duck Creek, Utah near Cedar City. We camped in the mountains. We're surrounded by red rocks, lakes, and forests, creeks, and caves. We went fishing many times and never caught anything, which is basically my whole fishing career at this point. We rented a pontoon boat and took it out on a lake to fish for a day. We got hit by the biggest, strongest thunderstorm I've ever seen. At first it just started to pour on us, which we thought was pretty bad, and then it started to hail. And then there was lightning directly above us, and the thunder was echoing for like 10 seconds after it would end. We kind of thought we were going to die, but it was also the most fun boat ride I've ever been on in my life. We also explored lots of caves, and I convinced my dad to go on a hike to some slot canyons where he was convinced he was dehydrated, and I was going to have to go back to the truck to call 911 to get flown out. It was probably 100 times harder of a hike than we had ever expected. At the end of every day, we would drive to this place called Navajo Lake and jump in to wash off all the grime from the day. It was literally the cleanest lake I've ever seen. Like, you could look down 10 to 12 feet to the bottom and it'd be crystal clear. It was also freezing, but that just added to how good and refreshing it felt. We ended every night by the fire and had some really amazing conversations with each other. We also had some fun with the fire and probably ate way too many s'mores that week. We finished the trip off by renting 2 jet skis for 3 hours, and we beat the crap out of ourselves because we rode those things way too hard. I ran out of gas, and he was at about a half a tank at the end of our 3 hours, so I guess I pinned the throttle a little too much for a little too long. We got home around 7 on our last day and had to unpack from the trip while packing for the next one, which we were leaving for within 12 hours. That next morning we left for something that was a little bit less adventurous than the rest of my trips this summer, but just as fun and important. We headed back up to Idaho for my cousin's wedding, which was at a beautiful little farm. We enjoyed it and had lots and lots of fun and ate some really great barbecue. The next day we hung out at our cousin's house, explored the old cars on his property, played with airsoft guns, and tried making little bombs with some brake cleaner, firecrackers, and other random junk. The bombs didn't work, and that was probably for the best. We ended the day with some riding through a canyon in their Razor where my cousin almost sent us flipping into a ditch. I took over the wheel and drove home after that. The end of that little 3-day trip only marked the beginning of my next trip, as we literally went from Idaho to Utah for our high adventure youth group activity at Lake Powell. We rented a houseboat and did lots of exploring, cliff jumping, boating, tubing, wakeboarding, and endless swimming, and some hiking that was miserable. This week was so fun, but it was so hot. It was over 100 degrees all week, and trying to sleep outside was just a little bit miserable. We were able to hike to the Rainbow Bridge, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and it kind of made me realize how Lake Powell was like its own little world. We were literally driving everywhere on the water and seeing things that you'd never expect to see and never could see anywhere else. We all got a little bit sunburned, definitely very exhausted, but the playing and fun never stopped all week long. I went off a massive rope swing, messed up the backflip attempt on the rope swing, and I'm pretty sure I have a concussion now from how hard I hit the water. But I didn't let that slow me down. The rest of the week I continued to do flips off of cliffs, and I continued to tube and wakeboard, even though it beat me up just even more at the end of every day. I also got to do my biggest cliff jump to date at Lake Powell, and I did a backflip off of the same cliff, and it felt like I was flying. It was amazing, and I don't think that same feeling of euphoria and excitement will ever go away when I'm cliff jumping. This summer felt like my last attempt to be a kid. I've been so scared all summer long that at the end of it, I'm gonna have to move on. I've learned a lot about myself on countless hikes and endless hours in the car and lots of time praying. I grew the friendships and relationships I care about the most and found excitement for whatever was coming next. My life has been so good, but I kind of struggle through it. I let mental health get in the way of my productivity and happiness in general. Throughout this summer, I felt the same feelings of depression and hopelessness, but also realized why I was still here. I was still fighting for that next morning every single day. This is my life, and I do have control over it, but that control isn't complete. In every trip, I learned a little and tried to apply it to my life and to grow from it. I started to realize that while maybe I'm not the happiest person all the time, and sometimes I can't even see what my future has for me, my impact on those around me is so insurmountably important when compared to my sadness and feelings of being lost. Every person I've ever been around has shaped me in some way, good or bad. I have changed so much through the years, and I know I will continue to. I do the same thing for people around me, especially the people who love me. I impact them, and that's scary, but they need me. I am worth something to them, and I don't want to ever take that away from them. In the end, I realized that this summer was actually a love letter to the people in my life. I used things I learned from them, I cared for them, I spent time with them, I reflected on the amazing examples that they have given me, and the so many lessons and memories they have taught me and shared with me. This love letter that was my summer vacation this year was priceless, action-packed, meaningful, precious, and important. This is my summer to live for. I lived for it before it happened because I was holding on to hope and excitement for all these trips. Now I have to live for my summer, even though it has already passed, and I have to continue to use the lessons and memories and relationships I made to learn and to continue to grow as a son of God and try to become a better person for those around me. I will use all these things I've learned this summer to continue to strive for happiness on my own personal journey. I love you, and someone loves you, and the weight you carry on the hearts of those around you is more important and greater than you can ever understand. I hope you can find the things you need to live for. I hope you can find the things to hope for, and the things that are worth enough for you to keep on going. Be great.